Hey, okay. Hopefully we can get through this.
Yes, let's hope so.
So okay. So first, I did not get a chance to read your review on Dune. So I can't wait to hear all of this. Based off your response on my reel, I thought that you hated it. So I'm glad that you were like kind of clearing it up. So
Yeah.
continue on. Continue on.
Well, I was saying that the biggest reason that I didn't connect with the movie is the characters, because if most people won't know that about me, I'm actually a hobbyist writer. I love to write, and my favorite part of writing is character creation, actually. And so it's the most important thing for me in every movie, every book, is the characters, the cast of characters that you have. And the ones in Dune, while the ideas behind them were really strong, something about it did not resonate with me. And the way they talked, the way they interacted, even some of the performances, while overall the cast did a good job, just something about them always felt distant to me. Like I didn't really get a chance to connect with pretty much any of them. My favorite one was, interestingly enough, the mom, played by Rebecca Ferguson. But that was in the first movie. In the second movie, she basically loses her identity. Like she becomes that mother figure. In
The
the
elder,
tribe,
yeah, the elder mother or something of that nature.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, the only character that I loved in the first movie just turned into someone else, and that's my biggest problem. So the story, I'm not arguing that it's well written or something. Like I'm not a professor in that regard, but even the best story out there, if it has characters that I don't care about, I just won't like the movie that much. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. So, um, I haven't thought of a score for Dune Part Two. I haven't looked at it in which again, guys, we're talking about Dune Part Two. So if you have any comments or questions, feel free to pop them in the chat. We'll get to them and talk to them as well, include you guys. The thing I like about Dune was everything else around it. So the cinematography is seamless.
Yes.
And after, now, don't get me wrong, Marvel, DC, fun rides, but after a while, characters in front of a green screen gets tired. And then the aftermath of like Ant-Man and Quantumania and how it felt so disconnected because it was so flat. And here you are, you have this lovely blend of practical effects on location shooting, special effects. Like it's a nice blend that I feel like I'm there. These characters, like these creatures exist. Like
Yes.
I I I love it. I love that. It felt a little long, and then the thing which I expected, because it's trying to cover so much ground, so I'm not even gonna, I wasn't like going to sleep or getting bored, but there were parts that I was aware of, like, oh, okay, so got an hour. All right, so I got an hour. We're gonna get through it. And I think you nailed it on the head as far as the characters, because there was something that kind of like felt like it was between me and the absolute like love for this movie, which I also like the movie. I want to be very clear. I like the movie. This isn't a hate Dune Part 2 session for me at all. I did like the movie. Some of the characters I did enjoy. Javier Bodum, I can't remember. Bodum, yes. I mean, he's good in everything. And it was funny because I had just seen him in No Country for Old Men, which I watched for the first time. So seeing that to this, like how well, like he transitioned, that I liked that. I was able to connect with him. Even his like I don't want to say zealous, but like his faith, his fervor, belief. Like I found it, like
Yes.
it was funny because at one point, what's the character's name? See, I printed out a sheet of the characters to remember their names, and I forgot it. But Timothy Chalamet, he
Yes,
played
Timothée Chalamet.
Paul. Yeah,
Paul Atreides.
he played Paul. Thank you. He played Paul. He was like, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. And the next thing he goes, oh, he's definitely the guy. He's not saying he's the guy because he's the guy. And that made me laugh. That made me laugh. Like I did like that. And I liked oh my gosh. People are gonna wreck me for Zendaya. I can't remember her name. What's wrong with me?
Chani.
I like Zendaya's. Yes, I liked her character. But you're right. There's a couple of them that I was just like, I didn't really feel anything. Like I felt her, I felt Javier, and in this one, I almost feel like, you know, Timothy got lost. That Paul got lost. You feel like the mother got lost? I felt like he got lost behind the prophecy and everything. So that was my take on that separately.
Yes, I see what you're saying. For me, actually, Paul Atreides is the biggest source of frustration for both of these movies, especially the second one, because the first one, for some reason, it didn't make that big of an impression on me, even though you can read it in my review for the first Dune as well, that it's a problem, that this character does not work for me. But in the second movie, it just became crystal clear that this character, in my opinion, is a Gary Stu, if you know what that is. Basically, the male version of a Mary Sue character.
Oh, Gary Sue.
Gary
Okay.
Stu, yes. So a character that basically
Stu.
can do everything, knows everything, doesn't have to go on this transformative journey, at least not in the same way that most protagonists do. And while I absolutely do think that it's important to distinguish between Paul Atreides and other sci-fi fantasy characters, not everyone needs to go on the same exact type of journey.
Yeah.
This character that's one of the reasons that he doesn't connect with me, is because he doesn't have this incredible arc. He's just, wherever he goes, he can do everything. He can win people over. There isn't like a huge struggle that's explored in a way that feels meaningful. He just, in the end of the first movie, for example, him and his mother go to Chani's tribe. They were the Fremen, and there's like this tension between them because they don't think that he's the Messiah. And then they're like, you need to, if you're really the Messiah, you need to kill our leader. That's how leadership is transferred in their tribe. And he's like, okay, and then he kills him, and that's it. There isn't like a huge struggle or anything.
Yeah.
Maybe he fails the first time, but then needs to do something. No, he just wins, and that's it. And this scene perfectly encapsulates my source of frustration with this character. He's the one that everyone is supposed to look up to, including the audience, not just the characters. But I never felt that. Nothing against Timothée Chalamet. This is the first role that I've actually ever seen him in. I haven't seen like Wonka or Call Me by Your Name, but this is the first time that I see him in a role. He's really good. But it's just the character.
So what's funny about what you said is that in the first movie, that moment was that for you, where like you didn't have to work for it. I felt like that when he rode the grandfather worm, when it was like all this tension, like, is he going to do it? And it's like, oh no, oh, he did it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, like I thought there'd be like a little bit more, but like, let's say or even it was a regular worm and he failed and it was like, you know, oh, he's not the one, and then like later he like gets the grandfather one and does it. Like even that little, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. It just, you're right. Like it was like, oh, okay, you already know how to do everything. There's no, exactly. And I have been seeing that, like you said, in some other movies and stuff like that, and it does kind of kill the journey a little bit for you because you're just like, well, how do they earn things if they're already so good at everything? So
Yes, and I've seen the criticism that we're talking about. I've seen it directed at other movies. Captain
mhm.
Marvel is a movie that got really
I was
criticized
thinking
because
it.
everyone was like, she's a Mary Sue, whatever, she can do everything. Which, by the way, Captain Marvel actually struggled a lot more in her movie and in both of her movies than Paul Atreides ever did. But that's another question. I'm not like comparing
Yeah,
the movies in terms of quality. I'm
yeah.
just saying that Captain Marvel is one of the biggest examples of Mary Sue's, according to the internet. And yet,
Mhm,
Dune, both of these movies come out, and everyone calls them, these intellectual, just incredible movies. And I don't really see that in the same
mhm.
way. And I have a lot of issues with them that a lot of people have with other movies. And I feel like these movies aren't being called out on issues that other movies are.
Yeah. So I think it's super telling, right? That I remember the beautiful cinematography of the movie more than I remember the characters.
Yeah.
I thought like
I was gonna
that's
say
that.
that the one of the biggest pros that I have in my positive section of the review is the cinematography, the visuals, and one of, just so I don't just shit on the movie all the time, I want to pay special attention to this because one thing that made a big impression on me is the way that Denis Villeneuve, or however I'm supposed to pronounce his name, he did a really good job at capturing the enormous size of this
Yes,
world and just
yes,
like the planet, how big it actually is. Because we've visited other worlds in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whatever. He nailed it. He
yes.
absolutely did. Those worms, the worms are my favorite part of these two movies,
Oh my
easily.
gosh, they
Just
nailed it.
their size, they're just absolutely, humans are like dots next to them. That's impeccable. It's really
Yes.
well done.
Well, he said, "Hey guys,
Hello?
Luke Rota. Oh, you don't hear me?
No, I hear now. Yeah, Luke Rotto is a pal.
Yes." He says, yeah, I had him on. Like, what movie we were talking about?
The Matrix.
Yes. How could I have forgotten? Thank you for bringing that back to my. Okay, you're going back on the list, Luke. You're going back on the list. Dune Part 2 is my favorite film of the year so far.
He loved it.
That's what I was getting from. That's kind of the vibe I got from him. Um, so what's his name? Fed Rafa. Um,
I'm not.
the the one that's the name of the character. It's the actor who played Elvis recently.
Austin
He was
Butler.
yes, that's his name. Boom. Okay, I wrote down his character name. I thought that he did a good job being a psychopath, whichever one.
Yes.
I can never remember. It's a path, and just he reveled in pain. He just got off on it. Like even watching his own uncle, like there was no like sorrow. I mean, this dude killed his own mother. We get it, but I think he did a really awesome job. I connected more with his character than I did with Paul Atreides. Like that was really, you know what I mean? Like I feel like I
Everyone.
got way more.
From everyone. Shani as well.
Yes, yeah. Oh, absolutely. My boy Austin Butler rocked it in this film.
He did. That's the one thing I agree on with Luke and everyone else.
And the between him and his uncle, they're just the disregard for human life. Like the way they would just like kill their own people. I'm just like, if I
Atrocious.
lived in this world, atrocious. I was like, if I lived in this world, I want to be at the very, 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 very bottom of the total pole. I don't want to be responsible for nobody. Luke says my boy Austin Butler rocked it in his film.
He did.
Silence. Okay, is that silence for us not to talk
No,
junk? Or is he quoting the film? Okay. The way he wrote it, I was like, okay, that could be a quote. Or he's telling us, I do not take kindly to disrespect. So, which we're not disrespecting. We're just pointing out the things that we like and dislike about the film, realistically.
Boat. He says boat. Oh.
Oh!
He's really funny. He's really funny. He's great. I'm gonna do a bit of promotion here for him. His channel is absolutely hilarious. If anyone wants to laugh, just go to his profile. He's amazing.
just an Instagram, or he's also have YouTube?
No, his Instagram. His Instagram. He posts reviews all the time. Especially if you're a Disney hater, you're gonna get a kick out of his profile.
Ooh, okay. I'm not a Disney hater. I'm very disappointed with where they came from to where they are now. So I will also probably still enjoy what he writes. So I'm gonna be checking that out more. I'll just skim past the Matrix review that he did. So, all right. I wrote down in my notes that I feel like I was a little lost with the amount of characters and what was happening.
Yes.
So I did not rewatch the first one before coming back into this one because I was like, that's like 6.5 hours. It's almost a work shift. So I'm just gonna hope that I can remember and keep it going. So the thing that I remember about Dune Part 1, the only thing no. Okay, you are looking pixelated. So I don't know if it's my thing or if it's your thing.
Yeah, it's the audio is interrupting sometimes. I don't know. My internet is full. I'm right next to my router, so I don't know.
Okay. Oh, I'm probably the problem.
Paul Atreides, the Messiah, doesn't want us to have this conversation.
It keeps freezing. Okay. Is it freezing on my end, on his end, or on both our ends? Luke, if you could tell me that. But right now you can hear me.
Yes, right now I can hear you.
Okay. So, yeah. So what I was saying is that I don't remember much from Part 1, which came out 2021.
Yes.
I think it was.
Yes.
So it wasn't even that long ago. Okay, good. Thank you.
No.
Okay. And what can I remember? What stuck with me? Just the betrayal part, and then them going into the desert. Like, I cannot remember anything else. I didn't even remember that Jason Momoa was in it. I just exactly, like, I'm like, man, is it me? And then
he was one of the few charismatic people, one of the few charismatic characters in the movie.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. That sounds like Jason.
Yes.
So, the other thing that got me is how the shift that happened with Paul Atreides, how it went from humble this, humble that, I'm just trying to fight alongside you, to that flip to, okay, I'm over everything. I'm the one. Come hither. Let's go. And I didn't.
Yeah, he's not a believable character. That's my problem. Not just in terms of, I'm talking about his progression. That's what's not believable to me.
Yes.
And I've read people say that, it's better in the books or whatever. By the way, I'm sure that it's better in the books because books have more time to flesh it out.
Absolutely.
And my personal experience, I actually have a document. Before I watched the first Dune, I watched a lot of reviews that said that it's super complicated, layered, that it's hard to understand. So I prepared myself an entire document with lore, terminology, characters, everything. And while I was reading this lore, I was actually more invested in this world than I was when watching either of the movies. Like, it's fascinating when you read about, some of the stuff, even the weapons, some of them have very specific purposes. It's just an incredible world that the movies did a lot of good when it comes to world building, but they still haven't even scratched the surface. And I feel like you have such a ginormous world filled with so many characters. And so there are other problems, but Paul Atreides' progression as a character is by far my biggest issue.
And I didn't read the book or how many. You did way more than I did, which if you have it in digital form, feel free to email me that lore. I'd love to read it. But
I will. I'll send it to you. Yes.
Thank you. And when he goes to, Chani and he says, just know that I will love you with every breath in my body as long as I live. And then 2 seconds later, me and your daughter will get together, we'll get married to the enemy, to the enemy of your whatever. I'm like, wait. I know on a royal level, this makes sense because you have to think about lineage and the kingdom. It's beyond you. But there was like no conversation, no setup, no understanding. He just did this flip and wasn't really like informing her of anything. And then it was like all of a sudden I can see everything and I got the worm juice, which when I saw how they got the worm juice, I was like, oh, that's where the blue liquid comes from. Oh, wild. So.
Yeah, how was it? They killed the worm, right?
Does it die? Do they kill it, or they just extract it and put it back? I can't remember now.
I don't
if it's
remember
dead.
As well.
Because I
don't remember. I
know it was struggling.
I think it died, right?
Oh, because it was struggling in the water. They were holding it in the water. I guess water is not their friend because they're sandworms. But yeah, now that you said that, I guess they did. But then that would mean that they would have to like continuously keep baby worms for that blue liquid. And maybe I missed this. So cool me in. The blue eyes, amazing. Does this mean that everybody in the tribe has had to drink that to get that?
I'm assuming no. I think they explained why they all have blue eyes. It was because of the spice, like it affected them. And you can see in the first movie that he is also affected by it, and that's, I'm assuming, one of the signs that he's the Messiah.
Okay. Yeah, see, I knew that I missed some things. So I was trying to also be cognizant of that. So, like, I only did a one watch. Like, this is definitely a movie that I feel is necessary to rewatch and, to catch things. It's just so long. And like we talked about, I'm not as invested in the characters. It's not the idea of a revisit doesn't entice me. Like I would, I'll probably rewatch Vin Diesel in The Last Witch Hunter 8 more times before I even come back over here. Like, hot take, I love that movie. I don't care what nobody say.
I haven't even seen it.
Oh man, it's wild. Luke says Christopher Walken walking his way on set, and Christopher Walken's all over the place. Oh my gosh. So
Lovely.
We're talking about Dune Part 2, guys. And I know that we're kind of picking at certain things that we don't like, but just to be clear, for those just coming on, we did like the movie. Yes. We did like it. I don't know if you voted in the poll that I put out, Dito, but I didn't really give much.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay, good. Oh, see, look, Luke loves The Last Witch Hunter. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now you've won her over, Luke.
Mostly. All right. Matrix is big shoes. We're going to have 3 more movies in common before I let Matrix go. But this is a good step in the right direction. It's underrated.
Actually, I also don't care particularly much for The Matrix. So, I mean, he gave it like a 3 out of 10. I wouldn't go that hard on it. I liked it, but it's kind of similar to my opinion of Dune Part 2. I think they're on the same spot for me.
Okay, as far as score-wise?
I
Or
don't.
not having connected characters?
I watched The Matrix like 3 years ago, and back then I didn't really give scores, but I think based on my memory, I would give it a bit more than Dune Part 2, like a 6.5 or a 7, I think. Maybe as much as the first Dune. I like the first Dune more, and I would put The Matrix there. I liked it, but I don't think it was like incredible. So.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it. I like that. I'll allow it. You are not on any list. You're good.
Okay, thank you. I was getting worried.
No, I love Luke. So it just and like I don't know that part it just turned me off so bad. I was just like, okay, if you're going to do this, you need to have a conversation. Like you're just doing all these changes, changing who you are. You're not telling her anything. Like, and it's not being explained that that's like part of the vision that you have to keep things from her and she has to just find them out. Like I don't know. It just
Who knows?
Who knows? So I feel like now that I'm talking more about it with you, I feel like my only issue with Dune Part 2 is Paul Atreides. I think everybody else is fine. I think I even like Dave Bautista, even though they don't use him a lot, or they don't like are like I wasn't expecting it to be the way it went. I still liked his character. I still like what he brought to the table. I still liked how he had his little tantrums and mad that like and just a side note, if I was the buddy behind him,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say nothing. Nothing.
Sure.
But maybe you should stop doing whatever you say, my lord. Go ahead. You good. You got it. I ain't saying nothing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, how long have you been a part of this family? Or like serving this family? Do you not see how they operate? Shh. Luke is right. Silence.
Absolutely.
Paul is a very manipulative character. Oh, yes.
By the way, yeah, that's one of the things that I apparently didn't get. That Dune is supposed to be a message like against false messiah. That's the thing that I didn't quite get, because while I was watching the second movie, it seems to me that the movie was implying that he was the messiah, but then I read some comments and interpretations that were saying that actually he might not be. I don't know if that's like a spoiler for the future or something, but I did not get that vibe at all in the second movie. So I don't know if I've missed something, but yeah, apparently there's another type of commentary in there.
Oh. Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess
we'll find out. I don't know, and I don't particularly care, to be honest, because it's Paul Atreides. But it is what it is.
So, let me see what else I have to say about this. Oh, so I was going to ask you, do you think the prophecy is true?
About him being the Messiah?
Well, okay, twofold. About, is there a Messiah? Do you believe that, for the movie's sake, is there a Messiah? And do you believe he's the Messiah?
Well, I have a bit of an external information when it comes to the books.
Oh.
So, which kind of makes me suspicious, because if I'm just watching the movies, then I was going to say, yes, there's a Messiah, he's the Messiah, there's not going to be like a plot twist or anything. But, again, with those comments that I told you that I saw, and people who have read the books, also apparently, and I hope I'm not spreading misinformation here, but apparently J.R. Tolkien doesn't like Dune, and a lot of people suspect that part of that reason is because he was a devout Catholic, and the Dune, the books apparently are, a warning against that type of figure, Messiah or whatever, And so, again, if all of that is true, I'm not saying it 100%, but that's what I read, and it came from apparently convincing sources. So if that is true, I'm going to give a prediction that Paul is not the Messiah. I don't know if there is a Messiah, maybe there's not. I'm actually gonna say there's not. Maybe the message is gonna be that the people themselves need to unite and fight without needing there to be one person. And maybe that's why J.R. Tolkien doesn't like it, because while watching Dune, it's kind of hard to miss the connections with
Yeah.
Jesus and just religion in general. You know, there's this one
They were
person
not
who's gonna
subtle.
save.
They were not
They
subtle.
were not subtle at all. I was like, and I'm someone who usually misses like these, read between the lines kind of stuff. But I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I see what you're doing, and then they do it again. Like the conversations that everyone has, that Chani is the one that doesn't quite believe it, but also doesn't completely pick a side. She's the agnostic of the group. Then the other ones that completely denied it, they were the atheists. Like everything is clear.
Yeah.
And again, the question is, which side is the story going to take? Are they going to take the religious side or the not religious side? And basically, based on what I heard, they're probably not going to take the religious side, which is why Tolkien may not be a fan, if that is true.
Okay. Okay. I actually, uh, side note, I've never read The Lord of the Rings, but I read The Hobbit,
Yeah.
and I loved The Hobbit. Like, I loved
Okay.
it.
I haven't watched anything in regards to the movies, so.
So, I would say, read The Hobbit, watch Lord of the Rings. Done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna read it because
I know,
yeah.
I know. But I will say, as far as like world building and all these characters and things you connect and all this stuff, Lord of the Rings, it's a trilogy. I'm calling it right now. Stronger trilogy than Dune. Assuming they do a part 3.
Like I don't think anybody is gonna argue with that. Even Dune Part 2 right now, which is like at number 22 or something on IMDb's most highest rated movies of all time, which pisses me off, but that's another topic. All of the Lord of the Rings movies are way above it. Like all of them have like a 9. I think all of them are in the top 15. So that's not even a question. That even this Dune Part 2, which is apparently perfect according to everyone, that's already lower than all of the Lord of the Rings movies. So yeah.
I wouldn't call it a cinematic masterpiece.
No way.
No. Cinema. If we're basing just off cinematography, okay.
Yes.
I will give you masterpiece. Yes. But if we are including characters and story, then I have to bump it down a couple pegs. Luke says the Lord of the Rings trilogy is top tier. You see? You have to watch next.
I
You
will
have to
finally
watch
them. I'll finally watch them this year. I actually have a friend who might be in the chat right now. He's a really big fan. He wants us to watch them together, me being it for the first time. So I'll definitely review them when I watch them. And yeah.
Okay, make sure to tag me so I can see them, because sometimes the algorithm, like, it doesn't show you everybody you follow. Like, it pisses me off.
Let's hope we're not doing another episode when I watch them being like, actually it's not
good. That'll get you on the list.
Oh.
Luke says, while I do love Dune 2, I wouldn't call it perfect. Okay. Again, don't hate the movie. Yeah. Don't hate the movie.
Don't hate the movie.
Don't hate the movie. It was a good time.
The story behind it is really strong, especially Shani's character. I think is really interesting in her duality, like wondering what to do, what to decide.
Yeah.
All of the ideas are great. The characters, especially the main character, is where it just fails for me, and so the entire thing comes down a few notches.
So I feel like, for me, Paul Atreides and his mother, those are the two that kind of like pull me out of it a little bit, because of, like, we talked about the progression and just the over to the chain. The Baron is my spirit animal.
Such a disgusting character.
Wait, okay, he said, okay, he was talking about Paul earlier. He had mentioned he's learning the ways of the Ben Gesserit.
The Ben Gesserit?
There you go, what you said. I'm not sure what he's referring to.
The Ben Gesserit, that's the sisterhood that the mother was from in the first movie.
Ah.
The like nurses, not nurse. Oh, I'm sorry, the nuns or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their religious group that was revealed in the first movie quite early on that they were actually teaming up with the Emperor to basically destroy House Atreides because they were growing too powerful.
There it is. There it is. Paul is learning their ways. Yeah. Apparently. Apparently. I think we saw the future. Okay.
I want to touch on like one last thing in terms of like my problems with it, because there's this exposition problem that people nowadays have with a lot of blockbusters. You know, the needs to constantly shove exposition down your throat. One of the biggest offenders of that is Rebel Moon. Did you see that?
No, because I was like, if I'm going to watch a Star Wars knockoff, I'll just watch Star Wars.
Yeah, watch Star Wars. I mean, I like the second Rebel Moon, if I have to be honest. I gave it a positive review.
Okay.
But in general, these movies have the worst exposition. Like, characters would speak to each other like they're AI, basically. Like, they're going to be like, you know about this one thing, and they start telling each other everything, the entire plot of the movie, but they already know it. So it's obvious that it's for the audience. Like, that is awful exposition, and everyone hates it. But then Dune comes along, and because it's too smart for that, too intellectual, they do the opposite, where they don't explain properly a lot of the stuff. So if you haven't paid extremely close attention, you're going to get confused probably. Because the movie, even the characters, the way they talk is like cryptic. They don't really, they kind of withhold information from one another. They talk in this really weird way, devoid of any emotion. And I think that that's the other extreme of what I was talking about, where the movie is just afraid that it's going to be labeled as exposition dump, and so they don't tell you anything. That's worthwhile.
Yeah, there's I see what you're talking about, because I think that's part of my problem, feeling lost with some of the stuff, because I'm like, wait, run that back me again. Yeah, I'm trying to, get it together. And separately, and of course, you'll probably get people coming after me, I think Zack Snyder is an excellent director. I think he should hire writers.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
That's what I think. I think what we all want to know
is gonna be juicy. He's gonna put us on the spot. I can feel it. He's gonna put us both on the spot.
Who would win in a warm race, Lisa or Dito? Who would win a warm race, Lisa or Dito?
I'm not Dito. I am Dito, by the way, with a D.
Dito.
Just so you know.
Dito. Yes. Dito. See, I was saying Dito, and then he said Dito, so he messed me up.
Yeah.
Boom.
I think that you're gonna win this, if I have to be honest, because I'm very clumsy. I'm gonna follow the one immediately. So
here's the funny thing. I'm also pretty clumsy, and I have been known to trip on air. It's been documented. So
it's been documented.
I think that you're going to win. And Pri says, I'll be watching Dune 2 tonight. Okay.
We inspired him.
We inspired him. So as we come to a close, I want to, I guess, ask, are you, well, I don't think it's a fair question to ask specifically, but as far as there being a Dune Part 3, what are your feelings on that?
I think it's going to be titled Dune Messiah. I think that's the book that they're going to adapt. As for me, I'm going to watch it to review it, but I honestly don't really care about it. Again, I'm not going to watch it in the cinema, even though I know that that's how it's supposed to be experienced. I just don't want to pay the money for this. I'm sorry. Yeah. Even if the reviews are like incredible, I just don't want to pay the money. And yeah, I'm going to watch it. I want these movies to succeed because it's really important for cinema to win right now, especially when there's so much stuff on streaming. And this is one of the few franchises that are like super, it's very important for people who care, unlike me, to watch them in the cinema on the big screen. That's really important. and so I want them to win, but they're just, yeah.
So before I say my piece, Lovely says NXG isn't winning. Okay, that's
What?
me. The race, the worm race. Like who would? Okay, all right. We get it. We get it. Luke says as it was written. Okay. So my thing is, I would. Okay. Theoretically, I am one of those people who likes enjoying movies in the theater. I like the experience. I like the community of it all. And it just like you're really submersive. And I feel like, and this is kind of more leaning into the cinematic, the cinematography aspect of it, that Dune is such a wonderfully constructed, like you said, world that it was the perfect theater experience to kind of because you're not watching just a green screen.
Yeah.
It's they put real work into this, and I would have wanted to try to go see it. I just like honestly one. I didn't have a strong desire to see it. It wasn't really hitting me. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta see Dune. I gotta see Dune. But I wasn't like I have more urgency to see Deadpool and Wolverine than I do
Oh
to
yeah.
see Dune Part Two.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like that's getting watched in the theaters.
And
I'm
Joker
going to
too for me.
And okay, you know, oh right, because okay, the musical part. So I want to see it. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I'm going to go on my way to see it in the theater because they added the musical element to it. And when it comes to musicals, I have to be in a certain mood, like a certain like mindset. Okay, like I enjoyed Chicago. What's another good one? I can't remember, but there's a few of them that I really like. But again, I have to be a certain mindset, and you're coming from what Joker was to now bring it into like a musical. I'm like, okay. I'm very interested in what that looks like, but I'm not like it's not on a priority. I'll get to it.
I'm gonna be honest, that trailer for Joker 2 is one of the best trailers that I've ever seen in anything. Like, I was blown away by how good it was. So, in that regard, I'm gonna be there in the theater just because of that trailer.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think that your excitement may be making me go back and
Hopefully, go.
look at the trailer.
I watched the first movie like in February of this year. I hadn't seen it before, and I loved it.
Oh no, I love the first movie. No, I love the first movie.
Yeah.
Love it. That's not the question for me. It's just, oh, we're adding a different element. We're changing the tone slightly. Okay, let me get my mind right for that. So that's what I meant. But yeah, Dune Part 3, if they let him do it, which considering how much money it's made, they'd be stupid not to, I will be watching it. And I think that ironically, for the cinematography and the experience, that I will purposely make sure I see it in the theater because of how much effort that they put into the look of it for me to really enjoy it. So
that's fair.
Oh, Dimitor agrees.
Yeah, he has the same name, by the way.
I see that. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you got going on that you want to share?
Not really. Like in regards to Dune or
just whatever.
No, not really something. But thank you for having me again. It's been a pleasure both times.
Thank
you.
And we will be doing this again.
Yeah, definitely. I even have an idea for an episode.
Ooh.
For the Scream franchise. I have some hot takes.
Oh, okay. All right. You know what? I'm gonna pencil Scream under you so that no one else can take that. It's going to be Ditos. No one else is gonna take that.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Perfect. All right. Make sure you both catch out A4. A4.
I don't know what that is.
both catch out at 4. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what you mean by that. Apologies. Anyone, and again, guys, I do this every Wednesday, and I make adjustments for my guests. So if you are in UK, Bulgaria, America, maybe Australia, I make adjustments to the time. But let me know if you want to be on. Have a wonderful conversation, and we can enjoy. Oh, and I also want to let you know about. Do you watch Tubi over there? Do you see Tubi?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
No?
No.
Okay. I have a show on Tubi.
You have a show?
Yeah?
What's it called?
The Zombie Chronicles. It's not horror, and it's not gross.
Okay. Okay, I'll search for it.
All right, thank you. Let me know what you think. It's not Dune, all right?
Okay,
it's
thank you.
not
That's
the cinematic.
It's
not the same. You're not getting the cinematic experience like that.
That's
okay.
Fine. If you have good characters, I'll prefer it over Dune.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you guys for coming on. Feel free to follow, DM me if you guys want to be on. Thank you again. Make sure you guys are following Crazy Movie Fan 23. He's hilarious. Oh, he said, sorry, I meant to say Aladdin. Check out Aladdin 4.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you later, and I'll be looking out for those Lord of the Rings posts. I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
Thank you. Bye.